What's the pronunciation of your surname? Is it Ohiri or Ohiri or?
Ohiri.
Ohiri, all right, all right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Punch Live. My name is Enola Akinkochi. Thank you all for joining us at very short notice. We have with us today Uzoamaka Ohiri, the ex-wife of comedian Chinedu Ani. And she's going to be talking to us about the raging controversy and allegations of both infidelity and domestic violence. This entire episode is being streamed on our Facebook page, so you can go share, like, comment, and it's going to be also put on all our other social media platforms, including Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm okay.
So, let's first address the big elephant in the room. A few days ago, you accused your ex-husband of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Then he countered your accusations with infidelity, saying that your first son is not his. Can you tell us about this entire episode?
Okay, so yes, I put a post on my Instagram story and on my page too, with pictures of myself, my bloody nose and my arm. So yes, I got married to him. The marriage was hell, and it was really tough. We tried to make it work and it didn't work. And we both went our separate ways. 1 year after he left us, I didn't walk out of our marriage. I'm so sorry. Phone calls are just coming. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, so 1 year after he left, he got married. And he put up the DNA report. Now, I want everybody to know that that wasn't the genesis of our problem. And if you saw that report, I'm sure you saw the date, the year that was conducted. This man had already left 2 years before then, like 2 years and before this DNA was conducted. So this wasn't the issue. This was not the reason for our separation. So, yeah.
Can you tell us what led to that DNA test?
Okay. So I've been hearing from my team that there's stuff going on Twitter about him wanting to take my kids to Canada. And that was why he conducted a DNA test. Now, the truth of the matter is that shortly before he left us, Nedu Wazobia FM became very insecure. He was very insecure around me. So he was doubting the paternity of my third child, which is my second girl. And he decided to carry out a DNA test. Unfortunately for him, it was the first one. So that was what led to that. So he's making it sound like that was why he left, or that was why we had issues. Or I'm hearing people say, I see people put up that, yeah, why won't he beat you up? You know, a man who found out that's his first child. That wasn't for why. I mean, this guy has been violent from the start, like 1 year after we got married. He has a temper. So this is not about the domestic violence is a different case. And I want this to be clear to everybody. I put up those pictures not because I was seeking sympathy from anybody or that I wanted to tell the world that Nedu is a violent person. No, I've been trying to reach Nedu Wazobia for a very long time now. I did not just come out. I have tried going to the court. I've written to FIDA. If they check their DMs, they'll see me. I've written a letter to FIDA. I've called them. They keep posting me. I've gone to the police station. I've reported. The court is taking forever and nothing has changed. My kids are suffering for it. Some of the celebrities, if they check their DMs, I've said that in other interviews, if they check their DMs, they'll see me there. I try to reach out to these people. I've never been in the public eye. So I try to reach out to people that I know that are in his circle or people that are also celebrities like him who can help me reach out to him. I've been crying for a very long time. Nobody has listened. So this was like my last option. So that I was trying to get his attention. I wasn't posting those pictures so that people will see that, oh yeah, he was beaten. No, I wanted to get his attention. That's why I did that. So yes, that's that.
Where you stated that shortly after you had CS and you were still attending to your baby, then he beat you up and all that. In the present, yes. Can you just give us a sense of that? What really happened on that day? Can you explain in detail what happened, when it was, and what led to it?
I can never forget that day. So before then, he had already been acting up. He had already been saying he wanted out. He was tired of being married. He wanted out. He wanted to be a free man. And for me, this is my home. I loved this guy enough to get married to him. I couldn't just sit and watch my marriage fall apart. I have kids. I didn't want them to grow up without their dad. So he had already been showing signs of leaving. You understand? I mean, other parents from my children's school would call me aside and want to, have conversations and tell me things like, or ask questions like, are you in an open relationship? I know you're married to this guy. Are you guys in an open relationship? Because we're seeing things. We're seeing him with this so and so person. So now, okay, so on that day, he didn't want to eat. Oh, man. I'm so sorry. These calls are just so much. He didn't want to eat. I served him breakfast. He refused to eat. So lunchtime, I came up to him again. I'm like, okay, just try and eat something. I'll make something for you. And he was like, well, he didn't give me a response. So I remembered that, there was something I used to make that he used to like, one of his favorites. So I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and make it and then serve him. Let me now see him refuse to eat it, you get. A friend of his was in the house that day and I brought the food to him. And this friend is our person. He's not somebody that, we all eat together. We're his family. And then I served my husband this food. And he's like, why are you bringing the food here? You want him to know that you give me food or what? I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll take it upstairs. And I take the food upstairs and his friend leaves and he comes upstairs. I'm like, how far now? You see the food now, eat now. Yeah, no vex, I beg. Eat, I've brought the food. And he's like, no, I'm not eating. I don't know if you put anything inside the food. You get. And I'm like, I don't understand where all of this is coming from. I don't know what your problem is. I've been trying to, I've begged you, I've talked. I don't know what's going on. You get. So I left him and then I walked to make my baby's food. And I was crying as I was doing that. And his mom, because my mom had already come and she left because my mom works. So my mom left and then his mom came. So his mom saw me crying in the room and she was like, why are you crying? I'm like, Mommy, I gave him food and he doesn't want to eat. I don't know where all of this is coming from. He's saying that I'm putting something in his food and all that. And she was like, leave him now. If he doesn't want to eat, that's his business. You get. And then I went back to the room because I was pissed. I was pained. I went back to him. I said, you will eat this food though. And I was crying. You get. I was hurting. I said, you will eat this food though. What was the problem? And honestly, I can't remember what I said last before I turned my back to leave the room. And the next thing I remember was I just went blank, like I blacked out. Because I said whatever I said, and then I turned to leave, And he just targeted my head and started hitting me. He hit me so hard that, in fact, as he was beating me up, he kept saying, "It's either you die or I die." And remember, I just had a baby. I just had an operation. This is my first ever operation in my entire life. And I was trying to reach out to my phone, calling my siblings, calling everybody to please come and help me out. And after that beating, he left the house. That was the last time he slept in that house.
When was
But
that?
this was 4 years ago. My baby is 4 already. And after he left, my siblings kept saying, "Go to the police and report." And because this thing has been going on for too long, but for every time it happened, he kept begging me. You know, he would come and say, I mean, it started with this slap, and then cops are flying up and down. I remember him throwing a cup at me while I was pregnant with my second child. And he would always say, I'm sorry, you can't report me. You know, all my endorsements, I'm going to lose them. We're going to suffer. You guys not eat. You won't have a place to stay. You won't have a car. And I kept shielding this guy. It wasn't even the endorsements for me. I loved this guy. This is the father to my children. So for me, I was protecting him. And that day he left. My mom called his mother that day and said, "You mean you were there and somebody was hitting another person's child? Not just another person's child. This girl just had a baby. She just had an operation. She's even still trying to walk and just stay active. She can't even breastfeed. She can't even carry her baby. She's just managing to just do things." And he beat me so badly that day. And what was sad about the whole thing was he still kept calling me that day because he thought I was going to report. But I didn't on that day. But my family kept saying, "Just go and make a complaint. Let this be on record that it has been going on." Unfortunately for me, weeks later, because they kept begging me to just lay a complaint, weeks later, I went to the police station to just lay a complaint.
What station? What police station?
Ajuwe police station, Aja. And I went there, and when I went there, they invited him. And of course, he came. He came with a lawyer. And, you know, the tables turned. And the policemen were like, "Madam, we know this man. Now, Nedu. Hey, this man, he came the day after now this thing happened. You were the one that attacked him. You are the one that attacked him. He came the day this thing happened." So he came the day after it happened to report, to say that I was the one who attacked him. Meanwhile, it was the other way around. But you know, this is not the issue, really. This is not the issue. That's not why I'm out. That's not why I'm out. I'm out for my girls.
Okay. What led to, okay, I've asked you the question about what led to DNA test, but how is it that we're married to him and while you're married, you had a child for someone outside? What really happened? Because we haven't heard that side. What happened?
I did not cheat on him. From the first day that man walked into my life till the day he left, I was never with any man. I can swear on it. Before I met Nedu as a BIFF, I was seeing somebody. I was in a relationship. He was on the sides, disturbing me. I mean, there were a couple of times he had invited me to Lagos, and this was my service year in 2012. He had invited me a couple of times to Lagos, and I turned it down. And after this relationship, shortly after this relationship ended, the previous relationship ended, I said, I was like, okay, fine. Let me just see this guy first. And we met up, and he seemed like a very cool person. And I decided to give it a try. And we started from there. And along the line, I found out I was pregnant. Trust me, if I knew that the child, that my son, my first child, was not for him, if I knew, I would never have walked in. I wouldn't have let him. I mean, I can't deliberately take another man's child and give to another person. No, I wouldn't do that. If I knew, I wouldn't have gotten married to him. If I knew, I wouldn't have gotten married to him. So this is not the situation of me being in a marriage and then seeing somebody else. No, I was already pregnant. On my wedding day, I was pregnant. Everybody saw that I was pregnant. So it wasn't even, that wasn't the case.
So you never knew about the paternity of your son until that DNA test was done?
Yes.
Okay, in fact, go on. We've been seeing some posts that it's your brother-in-law that you got pregnant for and all that. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's another OAP that wrote that that's actually your brother-in-law that you got pregnant. Can you just clear the air on that?
All I have to say with that, on that matter, is that the guy who carried that gist, some Osama bin Laden guy, he'll be hearing from me very soon.
Well, you're going to take legal action. You're going to sue him.
He will have to come out to prove it. He had better get ready.
Now,
he's going to come out to prove it.
Let me ask, at what point did your marriage get strained? What actually strained the marriage? Well, he said you were unfaithful to him all through, that you're always cheating on him and all that. So
that's what he said.
Yeah. So I'm getting, is it lying or is it telling the truth?
He's lying. You know, in all of this, only Nedu and I know the truth. And I can tell you that he's lying. He knows that I never cheated on him while married to him. He knows. He knows. I was never allowed to work. Nedu frustrated all my plans to get a job. Nedu knows that I never cheated on him. I can say it anywhere.
So what strained the marriage then? What strained the marriage? I'm guessing when you got married, both of you were happy. So what strained it? Because you said he had already left the marriage before he did the DNA test. So what strained the marriage?
For me, I would say what strained the marriage, you know, we had communication issues, and I'm not here to point fingers, honestly, but I will try and be as honest as possible. We had communication issues, and as a celebrity, you know, there were distractions. There were a lot of distractions. In fact, it was after he left that I began to question who I actually got married to. Because the people who were coming to talk to me about things that they knew and some who were involved with him, I began to really question if, you know, who I actually got married to. Because apparently he was living a double life. He was a different person. He was a different person when he was with me, and he is a different person out there. I would never have thought that, you know, that the house, because their office gives them, you know, apartments where they get to stay. Probably they're working late or so, you know. I could have sworn for my ex-husband that he never cheated on me or would even look at another woman or even be with another woman. So I found out eventually. Because even while with him, I had people, even some of his colleagues, coming to me and asking, Uzo, why don't you come around the office? I mean, this guy has a space here. Why don't you come with the kids? Come and stay. And I didn't understand until things started getting bad. Then some of them started opening up to me, telling me that, see, this guy is doing stuff here. And that's why we've been telling you, you need to show your face. People need to know that he's married. He's living like a single person. This guy, they carry chicks now. I mean, nobody knows he's married. Even when I spoke to one of the ladies that he was involved with, she was shocked. She apologized to me. She said she didn't know he was married and that he had even taken her to see his people. She proudly told me that they were dating. And I said, I'm still in his house. I'm his wife. I just had a child. So she was shocked. She said she never knew he was married, that her mom would never permit this, that she's sorry, she's leaving the relationship, she will no longer be in contact with him. So I'm not talking from a place of not knowing. I know, I have my facts. I know what I'm talking about. I experienced these things.
You have 3 children, that marriage.
Yes.
One now has been, I mean, I think it's now 2. We now say 2, since after the paternity test showed that the first one isn't his child. What is his relationship like? Nedu's relationship with the other 2 children?
He doesn't know the last one.
Doesn't know the last one.
He doesn't know her. He walked out of her life when she was born. So he doesn't know her.
But he has done DNA tests for the other 2 children. And
yes, I think so.
Oh, okay. You are sure that he is the father of the other 2 children?
100%.
Okay. And he is not involved in their life, not paying school fees. That we're trying to say that he's not doing anything for them. You say he walked out of their life.
He pays school.
Okay, he pays school. Okay.
He pays school fees. Remember why I came out was because I've been paying for house rent. I've been collecting loans for 4 years after he kicked us out of the house where we were staying. This is 4 good years now. I've been paying house rent and I've been asking him to support. 4 years now. That was why I came out.
Are you there, Uzo?
Yes, I'm here.
Connection is
I'm here. Hello?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.